Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what to expect, and we're going to be live every week. So again, I'm Lisa Ware. This is Anna Brown, Earth Goddess, and so she's joining us as well. We have a few others on the chat that are just listening in. But today we're talking about the full moon and cosmic love. The general gist of our conversation is rhythms of the goddess energy, yoga, and magic. And we'll be broadcasting every week on Facebook Live, but I'll also be uploading this to my YouTube channel, Lisa Ware Yoga for Love. And then Anna will be uploading it to her podcast as well on audio. So you'll be able to find it in those two places as well. So we're super stoked that you've joined us today. And if you're on the Facebook Live, if you are on our Yoga for Love Global Goddess group, just jump in there. You can find it from the Lisa Ware Yoga for Love page and then just request to join the group. This is where we have a really huge network and also a very tight network of really wonderful, like-minded women. And so we'd love for you to be a part of that and take part of some of the other amazing content that we give you every week. So today, I'm just going live on our Facebook. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about how to navigate the full moon, the energy of the moon and what that means. And Anna was going to talk to you a little bit about what that means to her as well in our practices. So right now, a lot of us are being really bombarded with a lot of really major cosmic energy. And so what does that mean? That just means that we are shifting as a planet, as a human race, as we shift, then we are kind of figuring out how to navigate this space. And so it, as an empath, sometimes can be overwhelming. If you're a healer or empathic, or you're just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, sometimes you can feel all kinds of ascension symptoms, and they come in different ways for different people. So you might have a ringing in your ear, or you might have you might be hearing things like that might impact your hearing. You might see things out of the corner of your eye. These are all things that are normal. So just realize that these things are part of our ascension process. Some people tend to have health symptoms that are strange and inexplicable. So there's lots and lots of different ways that this can show up for you. So in order to stay on track and on target, it's really, really important that we have a personal care practice that's really on point. So many of you may or may not have a personal self-care practice. And so that is one of the things we'll be focusing on more in the coming weeks. As what does that look like? What does your self-care look like? How can you amp that up to really make sure you're prepared to address anything that comes your way? And all that starts with bringing in cosmic love to your own self. So I think it stopped streaming. I'm going to start to restream again. I'm still recording, so bear with me for just a moment as we rebroadcast in our group. There we go. Yoga for Love Global Goddess Tribe on Facebook. So you can join us. You can find it by just searching in yoga and the number 4 love Global Goddess Tribe and jump in there and be a part. So we're broadcasting live. Again, we're talking about cosmic love today and navigating on how we can really just figure out how we can be a part of this ascension process without it taking us down. And so it's really a lot right now, a lot of energy. A lot of people feel it in different ways, like I was mentioning. So as we notice this this energy, I'm going to just restart here. For some reason, it's not going live on my Facebook. Let's see here. Okay, I'll try it again here. All right, go live, and it's not doing it. I'm not sure what's going on here. Connect you live stream, go live. Well, we can continue to just talk here, and we can upload it as a video onto the Facebook group. I don't know what's going on, why it's not actually working from the live stream. So let me pause the recording real quick. Today we're talking about how to navigate this full moon energy and what that means to you, what that means as a practitioner and an energy worker, and as just a human in general. So the moon has always been a very special cycle where you can tap into the energy of something bigger than yourself. So the moon is lunar, obviously. The sun hits the moon reflects the moonlight onto the earth, and that's a lunar energy versus just the solar energy where the sun is actually during the day and it's very intense. So there's very opposite energies of Surya, which is solar, and Chandra, which is lunar. The Chandra energy is a reflection. It's a symbol of the divine feminine. It's also called our grandmother. So in almost all indigenous and native traditions, especially in Native America and most Native American practices, we refer to her as Grandmother Moon. And so she is an overseeing energy that helps us to navigate as we live on Earth. She rules the tides. She rules our menstruation as women. And so these are just over embodying archetypes of the moon. As we work with the moon energy, we can utilize this energy to help us to empower and recharge ourselves. So this is a really important time in your own personal practice to have some dedicated self-care time. So I have a personal practice that I do on the full moon. I work a lot with crystals, and we'll be talking about that in a future episode. And as I work with my crystals, then they have their own frequency. Each crystal and each stone has its own frequency, and everything on this earth has its own frequency, and each crystal really knows what frequency it's supposed to be at because it's just is. That's just how it is. And so when the crystals are being worked with, they help us to reset ourselves back to the proper frequency. It helps us to balance our own energies because we are all simply energetic beings. We are embodied in this human shell, and we're an energetic being housed in this little container for 100 or so years. And so as we work through the different things that we're navigating, then the crystals help us to bring things back into balance or help us to uplift or ground or whatever purpose they have in this world. And then when you work with your crystals, you can recharge them in the full moon. So that is something that I like to do a lot, is every full moon, I'll take majority of my crystals, set them outside, put them in the full moon, and let them get washed and cleaned with the full moon energy. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna. She can share a little bit about her moon practices and her yoga practice that she's begun as well for the full moon. So Anna, do you want to go ahead and jump in and share a little bit about that?
Sure. So hi, everybody. I'm Anna. For my full moon practice, very much like Lisa, with my crystals, I like to put them out into the full moon. I also like to put them into a salt water into the full moon as well, because it has the same effect as a lunar lustral bath does on us as well. Is my background noise too much? Okay, great. So that's another part of my practice. So with a lunar lustral bath, just the same as a regular one, I use salts, but I like to add an oil that coincides with the moon. So maybe sandalwood or jasmine. And I can add petals. I can use my crystals. I maybe light an incense. Just really something to soak and cleanse and purify you physically and mentally. And then I also have a full moon practice that I do personally on my own, but I also share with a group of students at a local studio where I incorporate smudging, guided meditation, and I've now started to incorporate sound bowls as well, depending on our theme that we're choosing for that month.
These are all wonderful, wonderful tools. And as you begin to just kind of experiment with different things, one of the fun things you can work with is different oracle cards or angel cards. And really the whole purpose of tapping in to the energy of the moon is to connect to cosmic great love. So whatever you call that great cosmic love in your own personal life, that's completely up to you, and it's completely personal. So you can call this connection source, spirit, God, goddess, whatever. But what we're doing is we're tapping into something greater than ourselves. And you can reset yourself on the full moon and then set yourself what is called a sankalpa. And a sankalpa is a spiritual practice that is set for a period of time in your own personal life as kind of like a something that you're doing for your own self-care. And it can be any number of thousands of different Ayurvedic practices or yogic practices, from asana practice to mantra to the crystal practice like we mentioned with the full moon recharge, or whatever that looks like. But you're setting this intention to do that for a period of time. So from the full moon to the new moon is a little 2-week window. That's a perfect opportunity for you to set a sankalpa, and that's an easy period of time for you to be successful. So what would you like to do during these next 2 weeks from the full moon to the new moon to create some personal self-care time for yourself? So if you want to just comment below here and tell me what that looks like for you. And we're going to hold each other accountable in this group and in this chat. So again, just commenting is going to help you just to kind of get it out of your head and into the world. If you feel uncomfortable commenting, just think about why. Is it because you're just afraid to be accountable? Or what is that rising up in you? Just being bold and courageous and taking action in your life is really an important step in moving forward and moving out of old patterns and into something new. So for me, from the new moon last month to the full moon this month, my life has been very crazy. There's a lot of things that have happened in my personal life, and some really, really major closures of cycles, opening of new cycles, literal death in my very close circle. And it's been a very big perspective shift on what's really important. So my intention is to really carve out time every single day on what's truly important in my life. I'm not talking about goals. I'm not talking about your planner. I'm not talking about your money. I'm talking about what is really, really important in your life. And what does that look like for you? What can you do to focus on something that's truly important in your life right now for the next full moon to new moon? And then we're looking at another larger cycle, which happens, and it starts on Samhain, which is All Saints Day or All Hallows Eve. And this is a period of 6 weeks from that point to the winter solstice. And so that is the final last 6 weeks of the actual Celtic year. The winter solstice is the return of the light. So those are the darkest days coming up here, and we'll talk more about these in the next couple weeks. So start thinking about the last 6 weeks of the year. What does that look like for you? What can you be focusing on these last 6 weeks that will bring you joy, that will bring you magic, that will bring you adventure, that will nourish you on a soul level? And so start thinking about that. So you can start setting that intention now, focusing from now until the next new moon. So I was looking at the moon calendar. I don't have it handy here. Anna, what date is the new moon? Do you have that handy? We can talk about that in our next, but it's going to be approximately 2 weeks from Saturday or Sunday. So think about that, comment below. We're going to continue this conversation in our Facebook group. So I just wanted to open this conversation today for you to jump in, be a participant in what we're doing here. Take part in creation of your life. Really take part in what that looks like for you to live the rhythm of the goddess, to live in your energy, to live in your yoga, to live in your magic. And this is not just a practice, this is a lifestyle. And so what does that look like for you? Oh, and Anna, thank you. It's the 27th. So right before All Hallows Eve. And as we get to All Saints Day, El Dia de los Muertos, All Hallows Eve, all these cultures coincide on that very day, and it's not by accident. This is coming to a point where the veil is getting very, very thin. What do I mean by the veil? What I mean is the space where we're dense and we return back to the undense or the bliss body. We leave our body and we go to the other side. What does that mean? Going to the other side is where we're no longer in our body. Do we disappear? Yes, we disappear from this dense reality, but do we really disappear? No, we just move into another plane of dimension. And how do I know this? Because I've had personal experiences, countless evidence and personal experience working with those on the other side. So that doesn't just happen overnight. It happens with a long-term commitment to being completely in alignment with spirit, and then spirit can count on you as a clear channel. So what I'm talking about now over these next few weeks is to become that clear channel. You have to take time for you, focusing on your own self-care, focusing on the greater good, the greater love, the agape love, that big, huge love that is bigger than we can even imagine. The grace and the beauty that surrounds us in this universe is so supportive. Every single thing, no matter how crazy it seems on this earth, is here for our own highest good. And it's up to us to find the good in each of those lessons. And the quicker we can find that, and the quicker we get back into the right frequency and that vibration where we can actually tap in. And so we'll be continuing to talk about this. I'd like to know what your practice commitment is. This is the most important thing, especially for those of you that are in my training program. This is a requirement. If you're watching this video, and if not, you're going to watch the replay. I want to hear from you in the Global Goddess group on a comment. So if you're in my training program, please be bold and go ahead and comment to be encouraging for the other women to go ahead and post their comments. And so just comment right here on the live video, and we will see you again, continuing this conversation next Friday, 12 Central, in the Global Goddess Tribe, Yoga for Love Global Goddess Tribe. You can always join us on the Zoom if you can't get into the Global Goddess Tribe. But if you're not in there yet, go ahead and make a request to join. We'll be happy to add you. There's a couple basic survey questions to ask once you join the group. And it is a private group, so that's why we are containing this energy and keeping it very sacred. So I'm going to let Anna say anything that you want to say on the maybe your intention, or what, encouraging people what their intention could be. So Anna?
I just want to point out that this full moon is in line with Aries, and it is a time to break free, just very much in line with what you were saying, and just go forth, spread your wings.
So it's a powerful time, ladies. Let's stick together. We have each other here in this group, on this chat. Those of you that are a little bit more involved, you're in the training, and you also have the private chats and connection to your orientation goddesses as well as your coaches. So reach out. You're not in this alone. We're doing this together. We're here to support each other. And until next week, namaste. Thank you so much for being here.